Black baptism. You ever notice how asphalt smells right before the rain hits? That burnt metallic tang, like the world's been sweating oil and regret? That's what I remember most about that night. I was just an ordinary guy. Name's Eli Travers, 28, mechanic at Danny's Auto out on Route 19. I wasn't chasing dreams, not really. Just fixing engines, drinking bad coffee, and trying to keep my temper in check. My mom used to say I had a short fuse and a long memory. She was right about both. Dry Creek was the kind of town where even ghosts got bored. Nothing ever happened, unless you counted Friday night brawls behind the roadhouse or Sheriff Miller hauling in another tweaker with glassy eyes and bad excuses. But that night, the night the stranger rolled into my garage, right as the storm was building, something different hung in the air. Something wrong. He called himself Reverend Cole, drove a black Charger that looked like it'd been resurrected from a junkyard grave. Chrome gleaming, tires slick as new blood. Said he was on a mission from God. I should have laughed, but I didn't. He smiled too wide, like a man who'd seen the end of the world and found it funny. And his eyes, they were wrong. Still like stagnant water, like something alive was behind them, looking out. When thunder cracked, he didn't flinch, just leaned across the counter and said, "Son, I need you to make her whole again." I didn't know what he meant. Not yet. But the smell of rain and gasoline was getting stronger. And somewhere beneath the floorboards, I swear I could hear something ticking, like a heart that didn't belong to either of us. Reverend Cole said he needed a new radiator hose. Gotta get to the midnight revival, he told me, voice calm as thunder before it breaks. But when I popped the hood, I froze. The engine was perfect. Not a fleck of dust, not a whisper of wear. No way in hell it needed fixing. I told him that. He just smiled, slow, deliberate, and said, "Sometimes, son, it ain't the car that needs fixing." Then he started preaching, right there in the damn garage. His words rolled out thick and oily, coating the air. He spoke of sin and pavement, of how the road remembers every soul that's ever bled, burned, or begged upon it. Said the asphalt was a graveyard, a skin stretched over secrets. And I swear, as lightning split the sky, I saw something shift beneath the floor, like veins pulsing under black glass. Cole's eyes caught mine. "The road's thirsty, Eli. Been thirsty a long time." That's when I realized something. He knew my name. I hadn't told him. I laughed, too loud, too fast, and told him to get the hell out. But the words came out shaky, the way they do when your brain's trying to convince your body you're not scared. Then the storm hit. The first crack of thunder made the rafters moan. The fluorescents flickered, spit sparks, and died. The radio let out a long, static scream before cutting off. Outside, the streetlights blew one by one, pop, 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 until the whole world was swallowed in black. And in that darkness, I heard it. A hum, deep, rhythmic, like tires on wet asphalt rolling somewhere close. Too close. Cole was still standing by the Charger, hands outstretched, mumbling something in a language I didn't know, something that made my stomach twist. The air grew hot, smelled like burning rubber and rainwater. Then the ground heaved. A sound tore through the night like a car crash played backward. And when I looked down, a dark line had opened beneath my boots. Not a crack, a mouth. The road was breathing, and Reverend Cole whispered, "Welcome to your baptism, son." Cole stepped out into the rain, arms wide like a prophet drunk on lightning. His voice rolled with the thunder, booming, ecstatic, cracked with madness. Every sin must be burned clean. Every sinner must be washed in tar. The sky ripped open, vomiting rain and wind, and that's when the blacktop split. Right down the center of Route 19, like the earth itself had finally had enough. Steam hissed up, reeking of rubber and rot. The air shimmered. Then came the hands. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Human, but not. Skin slick and shiny, eyes glowing faint beneath the tar. They clawed, scraped, reached, dragging themselves up from under the asphalt, like the road was coughing up the dead it couldn't digest. Engines screamed in the distance, phantom engines, the roar of every crash and every lost soul that had ever met their end on this stretch of road. Their screams tangled with the wind until I couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. And Cole, he just stood there, grinning through the downpour, his hair plastered to his skull, eyes burning like taillights fading down a midnight highway. "Every road's got to start somewhere, boy," he shouted over the storm. "You ready to pave your own?" Something inside me snapped. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the part of me that'd been idling too long, just waiting for life to change on its own. I grabbed the gas can off the shelf, my hands slick, trembling, and before I could stop myself, I hurled it at him. The liquid splashed, shimmered in the lightning, and the smell hit like a fist. He opened his mouth to speak, maybe to damn me, maybe to bless me, but I'd already flicked the lighter. The flame caught like it had been waiting. For a second, he was beautiful, burning, glowing, arms spread wide like a saint on fire. And then he laughed, not from his mouth, from beneath the road. The laughter echoed, deep and metallic, like 1,000 muffled horns honking from underground. The hands stopped clawing, they started clapping, and the blacktop began to rise. The road was alive, and it wanted me next. The storm broke. Rain came down in thick, hammering sheets, washing the ash from the air, the smoke from my lungs. But the fire didn't die. It burned blue, whispering instead of roaring, sliding under the rain like it didn't belong to this world anymore. Where Cole had stood, there was nothing, no body, no bones, just a slick, bubbling pool of tar that pulsed once, twice, and then hardened like cooling glass. The blacktop sealed itself, neat and smooth, as if the earth was tidying up after a murder. And the Charger, that perfect, impossible car, gone too, vanished. Only the smell of melted rubber lingered, thick and sweet, clinging to the inside of my nose. Beneath it all, faint but steady, I could still hear that low hum, a vibration in the soles of my boots, like the road was still breathing, still alive. When the cops finally rolled in, their lights splashed red and blue across the puddles. Sheriff Miller squinted at me, eyes narrowed, rain dripping off his hat brim. "You're telling me a preacher caught fire and vanished?" he asked. I nodded. Couldn't speak, couldn't make it sound real. He sighed, wrote something down, probably drunk, delusional, in shock. Then one of the deputies took a few cautious steps toward the center of the lot, and his boot didn't come back up right away. The asphalt clung, just a second too long, like a handshake that didn't want to end. He cursed, yanked his foot free. The sound it made, schluck, turned my stomach. "Road's still hot," he muttered, but it wasn't heat. I knew that. When they finally left, the flashing lights fading down the highway, I stood there alone, soaked through, staring at the spot where Cole had burned. The puddles rippled even though the rain had slowed to a drizzle. The hum hadn't stopped. It had a rhythm now, slow, steady, like an idling engine, like a heartbeat. And just before I turned to lock the shop, I saw it, the faint outline of tire tracks leading away from the garage. Fresh, black, still wet. Even though no one had driven them, the fire was out. But the road kept burning. It's been 6 months since that night. They came and paved over the lot, neat even, brand new stretch of blacktop, the kind of shine that looks like it's still wet. The county called it progress. Said the storm had torn up the road so bad it needed a fresh start. Yeah, fresh start. Danny's auto opened again, but it's not the same. The air smells different, burnt and bitter, like something still cooking just beneath the surface. Sometimes I catch myself listening to the silence between the tools clanking, waiting for that hum to start again. And every now and then it does. Soft, distant, like an engine idling miles below my feet. People talk, you know. They say Reverend Cole was just a drifter, that I must have imagined him. Too much coffee, too little sleep. But Dry Creek's changed. Folks drive faster through town now, like they can feel something under the wheels, like the pavement's watching. I don't sleep much. When I do, I dream of headlights cutting through fog. Same car, same shine. The black Charger coming down Route 19, slow and patient, like it's got nowhere else to be. Sometimes in those dreams, it pulls right up to the garage door. I see Cole step out, still smiling, flames flickering behind his teeth. He says the same words every time. Every road leads somewhere, Eli. Question is, where's yours headed? And when I wake up, there's fresh tar on my boots. Sticky, warm, like it just crawled up to say hello. I've tried washing it off. Doesn't matter. The smell stays. Gasoline and rain. My two ghosts. Maybe the road didn't take me that night because it's saving me. Maybe it's waiting. Either way, I keep the lighter close. Because I know one thing for sure now. Some baptisms don't wash you clean. They mark you forever. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to Blacktop Baptism. If you felt that chill, if the road under your feet suddenly feels a little too alive, do me a favor. Like this video to keep the fire burning and help others find it. Subscribe for more dark stories every day, and share this one with someone who loves a good midnight haunt. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Click it if you dare, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Ghost Rest Stop. You ever been on one of those late night drives where the road feels wrong? Like the headlights only go so far and beyond that, it's just nothing? Yeah, that's where this started. It was past midnight. I was coming back from my sister's place in Bangor, long stretch of Route 15, cutting through pine forests that seemed to close in tighter the further you go. No streetlights, no other cars, just that lonely hum of rubber on asphalt. A sound that starts to feel like your heartbeat after a while. I'd been driving for 3 hours straight. My coffee had gone cold, the radio was nothing but static. The world beyond the windshield looked like a watercolor painting, soft, smeared, unreal. That's when I saw it. A sign. Rest stop, 2 miles. A perfect, crisp white sign with letters so sharp they looked freshly painted, not rusted or riddled with bullet holes like the others on that stretch. It gleamed in my high beams, almost too bright, as if it was lit from within. And maybe I should have known then. Maybe I should have kept driving. But I didn't, because tired people don't make smart decisions. We make comfortable ones. So I took the exit, the tires crunching onto gravel that hadn't been driven on in a long time. The forest pressed close, the trees whispering secrets in the wind. I remember thinking it was strange that I couldn't smell the pine anymore. Only this dry, dusty air, like old paper. Then through the dark I saw it, a rest stop, empty, silent, lit by a single flickering light that buzzed like a trapped fly. And in that moment, though I didn't know why, I had the sudden bone-deep feeling that someone was already waiting for me. The words hit like a cold hand on the back of my neck. You shouldn't stop here. I froze. The bathroom door stood half open, a slice of darkness breathing out from inside. The light above it buzzed and dimmed, flickered once, then went out completely. When I looked back to the bench, she was gone. The air in the rest stop shifted, thicker somehow. The doo-wop song stuttered, warped, slowed to a crawl until the singer's voice sounded like something underwater. My heart kicked against my ribs. I told myself to leave. Just walk out. Get in the car, drive. But when I turned, the glass door wasn't there anymore. Just a wall. Smooth, pale yellow, same color as the tiles. That's when the panic hit. A real animal panic. The kind that lives in the gut, not the head. I stumbled back, hit a vending machine, sent a can of Sprite rolling across the floor. And that's when I saw her again. In the reflection on the soda machine's metal panel, her red coat behind me. Only this time, she wasn't sitting. She was standing just over my shoulder. I spun around, nothing. But the smell hit me next. Burning rubber, like overheated brakes. Then, faintly, a sound. Tires skidding, a woman's scream, the hollow crunch of impact. The air tasted like smoke. I stumbled toward the bathroom, the only open door left. My shoes squeaked on the floor, each step sounding too loud. The whisper came again, closer now, behind me. You shouldn't stop here. I turned the corner, hands shaking, reached for the sink to steady myself, and froze. There was water running, steady and cold, and in the mirror above it, I finally saw her clearly. Same red coat, same pale face, but her eyes were black, the pupils wide and endless. She smiled, but her mouth didn't move right, like it remembered how to smile but forgot what it was for. Then she said in a voice that wasn't hers anymore, "Don't leave, not yet." And from somewhere far away, I heard the sound of my own car starting. The memory came back like a blade, fast, cold, absolute. Rain, screeching tires, headlights spinning through fog, the flash of a red coat. A woman stepping out onto the road, her eyes wide, her mouth open as if to speak, and then nothing but the thud. The world went silent after that. And now, standing in that humming, breathing room, I realized what I'd done, what we had done. The faces pushing out from the walls, they weren't strangers, they were me. Every version of me that ever drove this road. Every night I tried to make it home. The woman stepped closer, her shoes making no sound on the tile. The air around her shimmered like heat coming off asphalt. "You never listen," she said, her voice thick with static. "You keep coming back." I backed away, shaking my head, heart pounding. "No," I whispered. "This isn't real. I'm alive." She tilted her head, the smile widening until it split her cheek. "Alive?" she echoed. Then why are you still here? The walls convulsed, the faces pushing closer, mouths opening in silent screams. The lights above exploded, raining sparks that didn't fall. They floated, hanging in midair like fireflies. My reflection in the vending machine glass shifted again. Not me, not anymore. My face was pale, lips blue, eyes glassy and unfocused. A sound rose in my ears, low at first, then deafening. The roar of the crash replaying, looping. Tires, impact, metal twisting. The scream. I fell to my knees, covering my ears. Make it stop, please. But she was already kneeling in front of me, the hem of her red coat pooling like blood. She reached out, her hand icy and damp, and pressed it against my chest. And just like that, the roar died. Silence. She leaned close, whispering, "This is where you rest." The fog outside the windows thickened, sealing every exit, swallowing the light. And as the walls breathed one last time, I saw the sign flicker through the haze, glowing white and new again. Rest stop, 2 miles, waiting for the next tired soul to come home. For a long while, I just sat there, engine idling, breath fogging the windshield. The world outside felt too still, like it was holding its breath with me. I ran my fingers over the coat. Smooth fabric, soft and cold as river water. There was no dust, no smell of smoke or rain, nothing to prove it had ever been outside that car. Just new, like it had been waiting. A thought pressed in. Maybe this was the aftershock of a dream. Maybe exhaustion had finally cracked something open in my brain. But when I glanced down at the dashboard clock, it wasn't moving, just frozen on 12:17 a.m. That was the time on the police report, wasn't it? The night she died. The night I hit her. The steering wheel trembled under my hands. Not shaking, breathing. Slow, steady, like the pulse of something alive. I tried to turn the key, kill the engine, but it wouldn't budge. The radio flickered on by itself, static first, then that same warped doo-wop melody humming through the speakers. The passenger side mirror twitched, realigned, and in its reflection, the rest stop appeared again, just for a heartbeat. The flickering light, the vending machines, the woman in red standing in the doorway watching me drive away. "Keep going," she whispered, but not like a threat this time, more like a sentence. I pressed the gas. The road stretched endlessly ahead, the fog curling across the blacktop like pale fingers. But no matter how far I went, the forest didn't change. No signs, no exits, no dawn creeping in from behind. Just that humming engine and the whisper of tires on asphalt. Somewhere deep inside, I knew. You can't outrun a place that isn't real. You can't leave what's already claimed you. The coffee cup tipped, spilling cold liquid across the console. When I looked down, it wasn't coffee anymore. It was darker, thicker, glinting red in the dash light. The coat shifted beside me, just slightly, like it had taken a breath. And from the radio, her voice came through the static again, soft, almost kind, almost home. Sometimes I dream about that place. The hum of the vending machines, the way the air seemed to hold its breath, the faint static of Earth Angel, looping, skipping, like an old record that doesn't want to end. In the dreams, I'm always driving. Same road, same fog, same tired eyes watching the world blur past. I tell myself this time will be different, that I'll stay awake, keep moving, never take that turn off again. But then the sign appears. Rest stop, 2 miles. And I feel that quiet tug, like gravity, pulling me toward it. When I wake, there's always something off. Sometimes it's dirt on the floor mats that wasn't there before. Sometimes it's the smell, that faint antiseptic sting of formaldehyde. And sometimes it's the red coat, draped neatly over the passenger seat, like someone rode with me for a while, then stepped out when I wasn't looking. I've stopped trying to explain it, stopped trying to fight it. Maybe I died that night. Maybe I didn't. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between, a long stretch of midnight highway where the lost go driving in circles, headlights carving the same empty miles forever. And every once in a while, someone new comes along, tired, distracted, trusting the signs. When they do, I hope they listen to the whisper. I hope they keep driving. Because I know what happens when they don't. They end up here, with me. And if you ever find yourself on that lonely road between Bangor and Millinocket, and you see a bright white sign that looks just a little too new, do yourself a favor. Keep going. Don't stop. Because once you do, you never really leave the rest stop. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video. It really helps the channel grow and reach more listeners like you. Subscribe for daily stories that will keep you looking over your shoulder at night, and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Thank you for watching and listening. There's another story waiting for you right now. Just click the video on your screen. Until then, keep your headlights on, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. The smell of tar. You ever smelled hot tar at night? That thick, oily stench that sticks in your nose, even when the wind shifts? Yeah, that smell takes me back to the summer they paved Route 9. The summer I learned what hides beneath fresh asphalt. I was 17. Worked a summer job for the highway crew in a sleepy Maine town called Derryfield, the kind of place where front doors stay unlocked and gossip moves faster than weather. The air smelled like pine sap and motor oil, and if you listened long enough, you could hear the distant hum of trucks rolling through the valley like restless beasts. We'd start before sunrise, spread tar till the heat shimmered on the road like black glass. The world went quiet then, muffled by the steam rising off the ground. And sometimes, just for a moment, it felt like the earth was breathing under us. The foreman, old Dale Rourke, was a leathery man with one good eye and a cigarette that never left his lips. "Don't think about what's under it," he used to say, tapping his boot on the edge of the road. "Just keep laying it down." I thought he meant potholes. Turns out, he didn't. The first time it happened, I caught something, a sound under the hum of machinery. Not the usual creak of the roller or the clank of shovels. This was softer, wet, like something shifting beneath the tar, just out of sight. I told Dale. He looked at me too long, smoke curling up past that dead eye, and said, "Boy, best you don't listen too close. Some things down there ain't meant to be heard." And that's when I started to notice, even after work, even when I was home, the smell of tar never left me. The first strange thing was the noise, a low hum like an engine idling underground. Not loud, but constant, steady enough that once you noticed it, you couldn't unhear it. I asked Dale about it once. He didn't even look up from his clipboard. "Keep your mouth shut and your shovel moving," he said, voice flat as the tar. So I did. But that hum got louder every day. Then came the smell. Not the usual burnt oil stink of tar, worse. Sweet and rotten, like peaches gone to mush, like something that used to be alive. We were patching a stretch outside town when it happened. Midday heat shimmering off the road, the roller grinding forward, and suddenly the ground shifted. Just a few inches, but enough to make everyone stumble. The roller bounced, hissed, then went silent. The others laughed, said it was a soft patch, air pocket maybe. But I saw Dale's face. His cigarette had gone out. He looked like a man hearing something he hoped he'd never hear again. That night, I dreamed of faces pressed beneath black glass. Men's faces, eyes open, mouths stretched wide, like the tar had sealed their last breath. I woke up sweating, heart hammering, the smell of asphalt thick in my room. I could taste it on my tongue. Next morning, half the crew didn't show. The ones who did looked pale and twitchy, eyes darting to the road like it might open up and swallow them. Dale said the missing men had gone back to the quarry. Only thing was, there hadn't been a quarry in Derryfield for 20 years. It flooded back in '01. Everyone knew that. When I pressed him, he leaned close, that dead eye gleaming in the sun. "Boy," he whispered, "you don't ask questions about the ground. You respect it. You cover it. You move on." But that night, the humming started again, louder now, shaking the floorboards in my room. And somewhere beneath that steady drone, I swore I heard something else. A voice, calling my name from under Route 9. It happened 3 nights later. A storm rolling in from the coast, the kind that splits the sky open like a wound. Thunder shook the hills. The air tasted metallic, like rain chewing on power lines. Dale called us out past midnight, said we had to finish the last mile before dawn. No reason given. No one argued. When I got there, floodlights were already up, slicing the dark into hard white pieces. The rest of the crew stood silent, shovels limp in their hands. The rain hadn't started yet, just the wind, pushing the smell of tar thick and close. Then I saw it. The road was moving. Not a trick of the light, not the shimmer of heat. No, it was rippling, slow, like something breathing underneath. Each pulse sent a tiny tremor through the ground, up my boots into my chest. And then came the sound, that low hum, swelling until it drowned the wind. The tar began to blister, bubbling up like boiling water. Hands broke through first. black and slick, clawing up from the asphalt. Dozens of them, fingers twitching, nails scraping, dragging whatever was below up into the storm light. The crew backed away, but Dale didn't move. He stepped closer. His cigarette burned bright in the dark, trembling between his lips. He started to speak. Not English, something older, wet-sounding, like gravel in a throat. The words bent the air, made my ears ring. I couldn't breathe. I yelled for him to stop, but he didn't even look at me. He just turned, slow, his one good eye gone black as tar. They were here first, he said. His voice was calm, peaceful almost. We just cover them up. Then the ground split. A crack tore through the fresh asphalt, wide enough to swallow the roller whole. Heat rolled out of it, a stink of rotten fire. I saw faces in that light, the same ones from my dreams, twisted and screaming. Dale stepped forward, smiled, and let the road take him. I ran. The ground heaved behind me, hands reaching, smoke rising, that humming turning into a howl that chased me all the way back to town. And the smell, that smell of hot tar, burned itself into my lungs forever. By morning, the storm had passed. The air was scrubbed clean, sharp with pine and ozone. The sky looked like it had never known a cloud. I drove back out to Route 9, expecting wreckage, cracks, sinkholes, the half-eaten body of the road. But what I found stopped me cold. It was perfect, smooth black, gleaming under the new sun like a mirror laid over the earth. No sign of the storm, no scorch marks, no hands, no Dale, just silence. The machinery was gone too. Roller, truck, tools, all of it vanished. Like the crew had packed up and rolled out in the middle of the night. Except they hadn't. I checked. Their houses were empty, beds made, coffee cups still half full. When I went to the sheriff, he smiled that small-town smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Storm must have spooked them, he said. You know how workers are. They'll turn up. But they didn't. They never did. For weeks after, I couldn't sleep. Every night I'd hear it, that faint hum, far off but steady. It crept into my dreams, into the quiet moments between breaths. Sometimes when I closed my eyes, I could see the road pulsing, rising and falling like a chest exhaling. And the smell, God, the smell wouldn't leave me. I scrubbed my hands raw, burned my clothes, tore up the carpet in my room because I swore the stench had sunk into it. Didn't matter. It always came back. Hot tar and rot mingled with something sweet. One evening, I drove out there again. Couldn't help myself. The sunset was low, turning the asphalt red as blood. I parked at the shoulder, turned off the engine, and listened. The hum was louder now. Deep, patient, steady as a heartbeat. Then the road shuddered. Just once. A breath in, a breath out. Somewhere, far down that new stretch of Route 9, I thought I heard Dale's voice carried on the wind. Soft, almost kind. Keep laying it down, boy. Don't think about what's under it. That's when I knew it wasn't over. Whatever we'd buried that night, it was still there, waiting. Last week, they started construction again, widening Route 9 for the new highway. 20 years since that summer. 20 years since Dale, the crew, the storm. I've tried to build a life past it, different town, different job, new name on the mailbox. But time has a way of folding back on itself. You think you've left the past behind until you smell it again. I was driving home from a late shift when it hit me. That thick, clinging sweetness of tar carried on the wind. Even before I saw the work lights, I knew. The scent had weight, memory, heat. The new crew was out there past midnight, their orange vests glowing like coals in the dark. Machines groaning, asphalt steaming, same hum under the ground, the same low rhythm. I pulled over, watched from the shoulder. A young guy, maybe 17, same age I was, waved me past. His face was tired, streaked with sweat and dust. I almost rolled down the window to warn him, to tell him what's buried under that road, what it cost to pave over the dead. But the words stuck in my throat. What would I say? Don't listen too close? Don't smell too deep? The air was too thick for speech anyway. So I kept driving. Windows up, radio loud, pretending the hum beneath the music was nothing but bad speakers, cheap wiring, pretending I couldn't see the ripples running under the new stretch of blacktop like the skin of something sleeping or waiting. Because I know now that some things in this world don't stay buried. They just get repaved, covered in a fresh coat, made to look new until someone stirs them again. And maybe that's the secret no one tells you about roads. They don't take you anywhere, they keep you. Fade out. The low hum lingers beneath the silence. The smell of hot tar rising one last time. If this story stuck with you, if you could almost smell that tar, make sure to like this video to help others find it. Subscribe for more daily stories that crawl under your skin, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. There's another story waiting for you on the screen right now. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Backseat Baby. You ever drive home late at night and halfway through the empty road, realize you don't remember the last few miles? That's how it started for me. I was on Highway 47, the stretch between Miller's Diner and the old bridge, the one everyone says is haunted but only after dark. I was just a tired single dad, working overtime at the plant. My baby girl, Lily, was asleep in her car seat behind me. I remember glancing in the rearview mirror, watching her little chest rise and fall, the soft glow of the dashboard lights making her look almost angelic. The radio hummed softly, some old blues song, and I remember thinking how peaceful it felt. Too peaceful. Like the kind of calm that comes before something tears open. Then, out of nowhere, the road fogged up, thick like smoke, and my headlights barely cut through it. My phone lost signal. The world went still. That's when Lily giggled. It wasn't her normal baby laugh. It was deeper, off, like someone else laughing through her. I looked in the mirror again, and for a second, I swear I saw a small hand pressed against the window beside her, but it wasn't hers. I blinked, heart pounding, and the hand was gone. Lily was asleep again, or pretending to be. The blues song on the radio began to slow, dragging out the notes like a warped record. I told myself I was tired, that exhaustion was making me see things. But something in the air had changed. The fog felt thicker inside the car than outside, and from the back seat just before I hit the bridge came a whisper, soft and childish. "Daddy, you missed the turn." My blood turned to ice. "What the hell did you just say?" I managed, though my throat felt dry and foreign. The woman just stood there in the fog, her outline shifting like smoke, trying to remember its shape. "She's not yours," she whispered again, voice frayed with sorrow. "She never was." I slammed the door and gunned it. Tires screeched, fog curling in the taillights like pale fingers trying to drag me back. Lily started crying, a high, piercing wail that rattled through my skull. "Daddy's here, sweetheart," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "We're okay." But we weren't. The clock on the dash froze at 12:13 a.m. No matter how far I drove, it wouldn't change. The mile markers kept repeating, 47, 47, 47, like I was stuck in some looping film reel. Then Lily laughed again. This time it wasn't human. It was jagged and layered, like two voices tangled into one. I looked in the mirror and my stomach turned cold. Her face wasn't facing forward. She was staring right into the mirror, eyes open wide, smiling, waiting for me to notice. I jerked the car over, tires spitting gravel, and turned around. "Lily?" She tilted her head, and for a second I thought her skin looked gray in the dashboard glow, like she'd been pulled from cold water. Then she blinked, and she was my baby again. Just crying, confused. I scooped her up, holding her tight against me, my hands trembling. Her skin was ice cold. I looked around, nothing but fog and shadows. The road had disappeared entirely, and that's when I saw it. Across the ditch, down by the tree line, a wreck. My car. Crumpled metal and shattered glass, headlights still burning. Inside, slumped over the wheel, was me. I stumbled back, clutching Lily, heart hammering so hard it felt like it might tear through my ribs. "No," I whispered. "No, no, this isn't real." But then I heard it, faint, just above the sound of the idling engine. A lullaby. The same one I used to hum to Lily before bed. Only it wasn't coming from me. It was coming from the version of me still sitting in that broken car, his head turning, slowly, impossibly, until his dead eyes met mine through the fog. The silence felt alive, heavy, pulsing, like the air itself was holding its breath. I turned slowly, every nerve in me screaming not to, and there she was, Lily. But not the Lily I buried. Her little hands gripped the headrest, nails black and skin pale as bone. Water dripped from her curls, soaking the seat, spreading the smell of river mud and death. "You promised," she said, her voice overlapping itself, child and woman, and something else underneath, something that had waited in the dark far too long. "You promised you'd come back for me." My throat locked. "Baby, I tried." She tilted her head, and the car's lights flickered out, plunging us into a nightmare of sound. Her breath, my heartbeat, the slow ticking of the frozen clock. "You didn't try hard enough," she hissed. The fog outside pressed against the windows, curling like hands. Shadows moved in it, faces maybe, or memories. I could hear the bridge again, the rain pounding, the sound of glass shattering, her cry fading beneath the river's roar. And I knew with a sick certainty that I never left. This road, this endless night, it wasn't a highway, it was purgatory. A loop for the guilty, for the ones who lied to themselves about what they did. "Lily," I whispered, tears spilling hot down my face. "I'm so sorry." Her eyes flickered, a child's grief caught in an ancient stare. "Then come with me, Daddy." I felt her cold hand reach for mine, pulling me toward the back seat, toward the fog that had begun to pour inside, thick and suffocating. The air buzzed, like the whole world was about to collapse inward. I looked once more at the reflection in the mirror, the broken version of me still slumped behind the wheel, the car submerged in black water. And I understood the choice, to keep driving this endless road alone, or to go where she waited. I took her hand. The fog swallowed us both, and for the first time since that night on the bridge, the clock on the dash began to move. 12:14 a.m. My stomach dropped. "Last week?" I asked. "Ruth, what do you mean?" She frowned, wiping her hands on her apron, studying me like someone trying to remember a dream that never made sense. "You come in here every few nights. Same look, same question, always about a little girl." I looked out the window. My car sat there, engine still running, exhaust curling faintly into the cold morning air. But something about it looked wrong. The paint dulled, the plates rusted, like it hadn't been moved in years. I was on the bridge," I stammered. "There was an accident. I saw." Ruth's face softened. She reached under the counter, pulled out a newspaper, yellowed and folded to a familiar story. "Father and infant die in Highway 47 crash." The photo hit like a punch. My car, that same bridge, the same date, 2 years ago. My hands started shaking. The edges of the paper blurred, bleeding into the grain of the counter. I could feel the fog again, creeping in at the edges of my mind, curling through the diner's fluorescent lights. Ruth's voice drifted through it, distant now. "Honey, you should go home. Let her rest." I looked toward the parking lot once more, and for a moment, I saw her. Lily, standing beside the car in her little yellow dress, sunlight glowing through her like mist. She waved once, small and sure, before fading with the dawn. The clock above the counter ticked over to 12:14. And suddenly, I couldn't tell if time was moving forward or if I was right back where I started. I don't drive that road anymore. People say I'm not right in the head, that grief can make you see things, twist the edges of what's real until it all looks like smoke and mirrors. Maybe they're right. Maybe Highway 47 is just a scar I keep reopening every time I close my eyes. But there are nights, cold ones, when the fog crawls low and the air feels too still, that I hear it again, a baby laughing, soft, distant, from somewhere just behind me. I tell myself it's the neighbors, the radio, the wind, but deep down I know that sound. I know her. Once after a long shift, I parked outside my house and sat there for a while, headlights off, world quiet. The mirror caught my eye, and there it was, a tiny handprint, pressed against the inside of the glass, fresh, still damp, just one. So now I keep the back seat empty, always. No toys, no blankets, just silence. Still, sometimes I catch the faint smell of baby powder, the echo of a lullaby I don't remember humming. And once in a while, when the fog drifts in and the road outside hums low like it's remembering to, I hear the seatbelt click, that gentle snick of the buckle sliding into place. That's when I whisper, "I'm sorry, baby," because maybe, just maybe, she's still there, still waiting for me to finish the drive we never got to end. Fade out on the faint sound of a baby's laugh echoing through the static of the radio. The click of a buckle, the hush of tires over wet pavement. If this story gave you chills, do me a favor, like the video to help it reach more people who love dark tales like this one. Subscribe for daily stories that'll keep you up at night, and share this video with someone who can't resist a haunting mystery. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being here. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Go check it out. And I'll see you back here tomorrow for another night drive you won't forget.